me, check up on me. And you know, they had to really counsel me and help me get through it. And so I go on and I graduated. I graduated from college, but at this point I was convinced that if something major didn't change, I wouldn't make it past the age of 25. Mm-hmm. So I go to college. My first 3 years was in community college. I had lived a highly sheltered life, no friends, no nothing whatsoever. Methodist kid, going to school now in Mormontown. Mm-hmm. Mormontown, Methodist kid. Dealing with, for the first time ever, dealing with people who are of a different faith than me, being surrounded by that in many cases, not necessarily handling it the way that I should have in many cases. And so I'm here in school being surrounded by people, and I remember thinking that was, you know, being surrounded by these people, and I remember that was the first time it really hit me that I started to feel like an alien on the wrong planet. Throughout this, what really helped me cope that I did was my regular counselor had me doing creative writing. Poetry, fiction, things like that. And I actually would write stories where the aliens were the good guys. They were just trying to live on the earth. And sometimes the humans were the bad guys. But then they could actually ally with different humans who were sympathetic to their causes. And there was like a sort of like a, you know, and like I would write about like a push towards acceptance and things like that. Not really realizing that in some ways, in a metaphorical way, it was kind of predicting some of what the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network would later start doing. Mm-hmm. But see, I'm going to college, and a part of it is what I thought I wanted to do, turns out I didn't really like. Couldn't really find my purpose in life. Wound up graduating community college with like a general education degree, which basically is worth nothing unless you're going on to regular college. Took me about 3 years to really it actually took me 3 years to get settled, or 2.5 years to get really settled in there. I had to at least back out of one of the Bible studies I was attending regularly, go back to, you know, doing small groups at the Methodist church. You know, I would find myself feeling very pressured towards doing activities at the Mormon church when I didn't feel comfortable being there. You know, in part because, like I said, I didn't know how to interact with them. And then I went up to NAU, and NAU had a wonderful community. And despite all of this, you know, I wound up going, I think I was encouraged by my campus pastor at that time to go and see the psychiatrist at NAU. And it was at NAU where I first got diagnosed with Asperger's. The way they did it, I didn't really care for, because they tacked it on to all the other previous diagnoses, rather than just say, here is something that encompasses what you're going through, when it was, in many ways. So it felt like they were just sort of tacking it on and throwing on another label, and I remember not being all that happy with that. It was at NAU where I was, you know, at NAU, when I was at NAU, that's when I also started to get kind of burned out with the Methodist Church in the direction that it was going, and started to notice some issues with regards to acceptance there as well. And I kind of, but at NAU, I found another one, which was affiliated, another campus group, which was affiliated with the Assemblies of God Church, called Chi Alpha. And I started doing both for a while, but I noticed Chi Alpha was way different. Okay, Chi Alpha, nobody minded if you got up and started walking around. They had places where they would encourage people rather than discourage. They would encourage people to go up and write. They had different things, you know, it was very spontaneous. Some of the groups, I came to understand, they play a song and then they just bang around on the keyboard and all the different instruments until somebody just so happened to be playing something that sounded reminiscent of another praise song, then they shift into the other praise song. Basically, what I would lay, you know, I didn't know why I liked this, I just knew that I did, and that I found I could make friends in this kind of a place. I think it was one of the girls who finally approached me and said that at first she was a little standoffish with me, not because of me necessarily as a person, but because she had never encountered anybody like me before. And that's what spurred me towards kind of, that's when I started to learn, notice that I was like geared towards like a lot of the advocacy stuff that I do now. Also, it was while I was there that I had, you know, they had this guest coming in who was supposed to be speaking words over people's lives, and basically one of the things that was spoken to me was that I would be a bridge builder between different communities. So basically put, I was starting to get finally a sense of purpose in life. Burned out at NAU again because I didn't know where I needed to be, where I found myself skipping classes, not really having a purpose to going. Then I wound up coming back home, and you know, I had started trying to work, and I had different issues that would come up. Basically started me going and looking towards, okay, what is Asperger's, what is autism? I got involved with some couple of different online communities. I'll try to keep this short, but basically put, I started to learn about the importance of support groups and the importance of community and how that helps improve a person's behavior and troubles, if you will, struggles, if you will. I also started to learn what it means to accept yourself. And it was some years after I did this and started finding communities, started finding groups in this area, where I was at a concert called the Rock and Worship Roadshow. And Grand Canyon University happened to have a booth at this concert. And they announced, Bart Millard actually got on stage and encouraged everybody to go check them out and apply, saying that they were waiving the application fees for everybody. So it's like, I got nothing to lose, go check it out, maybe see if they could take me. I don't even have to pay for the application, why not, it's free. I went down there, applied, 3 days later I'm in. I'm getting calls from Jen Wu's basically saying, we got your information. And see, GCU was far more successful for me this time around. Number one was, I think for me, number one was I went in to GCU already having a better sense of purpose for what I wanted to do. But the other thing that helped me get through GCU was, you know, even though it was an online campus, it was Jen. Jen never gave up on her students. She actually, you know, regardless of what your issues were, or regardless of what was going on, she would call me every week to check up on me and see how things were going. And I think that accountability also helped. It also helped that she was able to find me a program within GCU wherein I would be able to accomplish what I wanted to actually do in life. In my case, I got a bachelor's of science degree in business management. I know it doesn't quite look it like right off, but I graduated, like I said earlier, I graduated with honors. Jen was trying to spur me on to even better honors.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you were
graduation.
You were at my graduation,
Yep.
yes. And she was there. Actually, she walked graduation the same day, and she was there trying to encourage me to go after my master's. I'm not giving up on that. If you're watching, I'm not giving up on that. I just put it on hold for now. But I think she was very instrumental in getting me through, because I had to deal with many of the same hardships, and this time when I'm also working through school, she helped me plug into the online classroom. The online classroom also helped because of flexibility regarding time, doing it all online. But it helped to have her to talk to every week.
Yeah, yeah. It's for you. Yeah, you couldn't have done classes at the campus because you live about 30 miles.
And I didn't have a car at the time.
Yeah, so it would have been completely impractical for you to have attended classes at the facility. So online really was your only option, and it worked great for you.
It worked great, and also I think one of the things I benefited from was I could see as we were doing the lessons, I could practically see the applicability right away, not just in the current community, autism community, but also in my workplace as well. And that helped me, I think, visualize it in many ways. Visualizing it in that sense helped me keep going. But like I said, I think a large chunk of why I managed to make it through graduation was because of her. I had being a very intelligent, or being able to steer me towards where where my passions seem to be, as well as being very friendly and calling me every week, checking up on me. Yeah, I mean, it would have been, going to the campus at that time for the first couple of years would never have worked. But I think the takeaway from this is, for me, part of a huge chunk of being able to get me through school involved two things. It involved, first of all, being in a place where I could be comfortable with myself as different, and being in a place, and being in a place where I didn't have to accept the responsibility fully of being what other people wanted me to be. Basically, learning how to love myself for who I am, and not feeling like I'm pressured to be something else. I also think part of what got me through it was the community in many ways. I mean, you helped give me a sense of purpose. I kid you not. Remember when we were talking about starting up the group or whatever, even though that thing kind of filtered out,
right?
That sense of purpose and the sense of I can actually help people that I got from that, and also from working with AZ Assist, where I've been for about 7 years. That was a huge contributing factor as well. There's a sense in which you can work through your struggles better if you know the end outcome.
So, well, thank you. And